This segment is sponsored by Native Solar. Well, solar energy is a growing resource and an in-demand career field. Here to tell us more about jobs in the industry, as well as creating a diverse and inclusive work environment, is my good friend Paul Watson with Native Solar. Hello to you.
Hello, Stephanie. How are you doing today?
I am great. It's always a great day when I get to have you in studio, and we get to talk about some important things. So get us started with talking to us about what diversity and inclusion mean for Native and solar energy jobs as a whole.
What we focus on is race, gender, and socioeconomic background. So race is a big part of it. We have a tendency to have a lot of white males in the industry, so bringing diversity of people of color is a big focus, and that's what we've talked about at Solar Austin, where we're trying to bring women and people of color in the background. So that's the second one is gender,
Okay.
male and females. There's still about 60% males in the industry as a whole. But then when you look at leadership positions, that's when the numbers start to get a lot less. We do have some good example of Sunrun and some other companies that have great women leadership, but that's the other focus. And then last, socioeconomic backgrounds and where people are. Are they in low income areas? Do they have access to jobs and training? Are they in a rural area? So those are our three focuses for right now. And really trying to promote that at the local level is really the way that we've been kind of approaching the diversity and the inclusion part by focusing on those impactful communities.
Excellent. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the support or lack thereof, maybe that's offered to help accelerate diversity, inclusion, and even training within the solar jobs.
Support comes in a lot of different ways. We did have a lot of support with Del Valle, people applauding, people coming out and giving us a lot of accolades because it was impactful. Now, in terms of supporting the industry, there is a very big challenge in that. We're hiring because we need people, and getting people to dedicate that time takes a very big commitment because they have a business to run. And the other area of support, which that we look at, is financial support. Now that's where we're lacking a lot. The Department of Labor did not approve a solar apprenticeship program this year, so we do not have a vehicle to really fund a lot of the training. And at the same time, the Department of Energy issued a mandate that we want to get to 30% solar energy by 2030. So we have a really big demand, and the good thing is schools like Del Valle stepped up in a big way. Many schools move very slowly, but we want to move beyond that in terms of what you're talking about with support and inclusion. How do we take this to the community through solar camps? How do we get them engaged? And really where we need a lot more support is corporate sponsors. We need people to come in and hire these folks. We need folks to come in, not just utilities. We need solar installation companies. We call them EPC, Engineering, Procurement, and Construction. There are also other jobs. Mission Solar stepped up in a big way, but really the industry is growing magnificently in that it's touching a lot of industries. Another good example is with certain segments of the community. The deaf and hard of hearing is a tremendously robust community. In terms of inclusion, a lot of the weight is on the company to actually develop the mentoring programs, develop the vehicles for success, but specifically the deaf of hard of hearing, and Jason Shaw, our master electrician who came on recently, has really opened our eyes to how much support they get, because you can't obviously operate in the same dynamic that we're operating now, a lot of texting, a lot of applications, a lot of translators. So we have seen support, especially in diversity, for that particular group, that segment. So we were really happy about that. I would love to see more in terms of the development of new tools and new ways to engage deaf and hard of hearing, other physical disabilities. We want to be careful with mental challenges, but everybody should have access to the incredible growth that we're going to have in the solar industry.
Let's talk a little bit about the roadmap for diversity and inclusion that includes Native Solar and others out there.
We really want to start to expand into areas to increase what we call energy equality. Now, energy equality means that it's not just a person that has 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, six-figure, 400,000+ income, really strong FICO. No, we really want to focus on areas that make an average annual income of 30,000 to 50,000. Those folks that are paying more than 8% of their annual income on utility bills. So the roadmap for right now, while we wait on kind of a national pathway to funding and additional support, is to really start to focus on Greater Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have a really great program that we shared on a previous segment, Green Careers Dallas, that is working with incarcerated African Americans, helping them get through all the challenges to get through, say, a felony and then into the workforce. So that's really the roadmap, is to move beyond the schools, go into the community colleges, go into the actual communities, get the community engaged. The Woodlands offers a great roadmap for that. You've got a really tight-knit community. You have some areas that have really great income that could help support the areas that have less income. And that's really where we're merging to these community grids. It's not just about building an education and learning about a new trade, but it's also about building resilience within the community through these microgrids, through these virtual power plants. So they are really taking their power back.
Speaking of taking your power back, I want to hear a little bit about Native Solar, who you guys are, and what you do besides so much in the community.
Native Solar is an early adopter. They've been here over 15 years. They started out with net zero, but their solar division is actually a full service company, meaning that they have cells, they have installation, and they have service, meaning they don't just service their systems, but if there's a system that's orphaned or you need to take off the roof and put the solar panels back on there, we do third-party servicing.
Paul, thank you so much for your time today. So much great information. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, KXAN.
Now go to nativesolar.com to learn more about solar careers and calculate your savings with solar, request a quote, and of course, take your power back with Native Solar. This segment is sponsored by Native Solar.